The video was it was almost like a movie. I have never wanted so badly to be at a laundromat or to be a bartender. Like it was awesome. Did it feel good to you? What like this was the first, song off of the album. Did it feel good to have that kind of reception that you've gotten so far from it?
Yeah, I mean, it to have that song be coming from such a real and vulnerable place,
Yeah.
and also for it to be so close to my heart in the sense of like the lyrics, but also like the message is something that almost feels like it was passed down to me by my mom and it was passed down to her by her mom. And it just like that message of how do you say it, like bouncing back, resilience
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
just so it's such a big part of like my story and also my family's story too. So there's just a lot of layers to it, and for
Yeah.
people to, like, connect with it and to know that the song is, like obviously, there are so many songs that I have and that many people have that are personal and honest, but for it to be
Mhm.
personal and honest and also feel like something that can get th somebody through a hard time is, like, really special.
But was writing these songs for this album, was writing this cathartic for you? Did it feel like you were able to get it out? Sometimes when we hold on to stuff, it like messes with everything else. Did this allow you to like work through scenarios in your life?
I mean, I did so much of holding stuff in and so much of like, especially with my kind of mental health issues and anxiety. And
Mhm.
I just felt like there was something wrong with me. There was so much shame around it, especially in my late teens and like early 20s. Felt like I needed to hide from everybody. And this album and me opening up to also like the people in the room and my collaborators, and therefore opening up to the mic in the
Yeah.
booth and like talking about these things openly, it was so healing for me, like, transformational, because talking about it and even talking about it now in interviews is like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm just a human. There was, like, nothing wrong with me. I wasn't broken. I was just, like, having a hard time."
Right.
And it just feels, like, really amazing to let yourself be seen like that and to feel like I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to hide. I could talk about it. I talked about it in the album.
Well,
I
you
talked about
also
it in the music, and I get to just, like, make it integrate it, you know?
I've what is the thing that you are learning about yourself, you know what I mean, and how your approach in relationships.
In relationships. I feel like for me, something that I'm learning is that all relationships, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships, are like it's important for me to have the same attitude, which is just like being honest. And I feel like in romantic relationships, especially, sometimes we hustle so much to get the other person to like us, to not rock the boat, to not like mess things up. And I feel like it's just like in friendships, like when I am vulnerable with my friends and I'm like, I know that this is a stupid fear, but I'm scared of this. I know this is a stupid insecurity, but I'm really insecure about this. When we
This is where
open
I'm
up
at.
about those
Yeah.
things, it's just like that's how you build real intimacy and a real trust between people and real connection. And so for me, I feel like friendships and relationships have to be the same, and like I have to just be able to be completely myself in
Yourself.
every way.
You say in the pre-chorus of the song, "I've been a breaker and broken. Every
Mhm.
mistake turns to moments. Wouldn't take anything back." You know,
Totally.
wouldn't you say that all of it is about a learning experience?
Totally, and that song is almost like me on the other side of it, but there's songs where I'm in the thick of it, like this song called "Psycho Freak" and this song called "No Doubt," which is me just being like, "I don't know what's wrong with me, but I feel, like, weird in my own skin, and
Mhm.
it sucks." And so, there's songs, like, about that too. "Bam Bam" is kind of me on the other end being like, "It passed, and it's gonna pass." You know, it's kind of like "Bam Bam" is almost like the wisdom, and the other songs are just me
The
in the thick of
process.
it. But I think
Yeah.
all of it is important.
I'm curious of what you might want people to know in the kind of encapsulating experience of familia, about where you are now and how you feel now on this side. You know what I mean?
You know, I think that I wrote this in my album "Thank Yous," but it was like, I thought that I needed to be like healed before I let myself be seen. And it turned out that being seen is what made me heal. And I feel like that was the biggest thing that I learned from this album is just that vulnerability and speaking your truth brings the right people around you. And then when you have the right people around you, you know that no matter what happens in your life, like some things will be hard, but you'll be okay because you're held and your community, your family, your friends, your people have got you. And that is what I feel like makes life feel not as scary and meaningful.
Camila, once again, one of the most beautiful conversations about art and about life every single time. Thank you so much for this. Have the best rest of the day. Get you some rest. You deserve it.
Thank you so much. You too.